Hey everybody, welcome to the shop today. I have one of my favorites here in front of me. This is a Siamese Mauser, and we're working on a Siamese Mauser today. This is really cool. Now, if you want to build a custom sporting rifle uh, with a rimmed cartridge, and it's less than 2.90 inches in length, the Siamese Mauser is a really good candidate. First off, it's obviously super strong. It's a good Mauser action based off the large ring Mauser. It is an intermediate length, which means it is similar in length to the Yugo M48, but it was designed and built for a large rimmed round. And the rim is the same diameter as the Russian 7.62 by 54R. Keep that in mind for later. So, if you want to build a sporting rifle, like I showcased in a short earlier last week, this is a Winchester 50-110, and that is a big honkin' cartridge. And it fits right down in the magazine well, and that's a project for another day. But today, we're going to talk about finishing up one of my Siamese Mauser projects. So, let's get this spare off the bench. So what we have here, I got a Boyd's stock, and I like the Boyd's Pro Varmint stocks. They work really good for bench shooting like I like to shoot, and I went ahead and inletted this. Now, Boyd's does not offer an inlet for the Siamese Mauser. In fact, in the Pro Varmint, they don't offer a inlet for a Yugo M48, which would be super close, except for the fact of this back-swept magwell. So, frustratingly, they said they cannot do a Yugo inlet on this stock because it doesn't fit. But they offer a small ring Mauser, which is the same length and the same layout. So I don't know what that is about, but I went ahead and said, well, I'll give it a shot. No harm in trying, I guess. So what we have here is a small ring Mauser inletted Pro Varmint 2. Now I've went ahead and done the majority of the fitment for this, and it's not terribly difficult. One thing I wanted to do was avoid milling off the guide rails for the dust cover on the Siamese Mauser. So I went ahead and just leveled the stock down so it would sit just like that, so we wouldn't interrupt that. Not a big deal. The rear of the action, where it tapers down into the rear tang, had to be opened up just a little bit. There is plenty of room around the rear tang, as you can see, for some bedding, which will be fantastic. On the bottom, had a little piece break out, not a big deal. We can fill that in with bedding compound. And again, at the rear of this, there is a generous little area back there, which can be filled in very nicely with bedding compound. So, let's take this action out of the stock, and let's get the finished action set in, and let's see what we're working with. And one thing real quick before I take this action out, the one thing that I don't like is the bottom metal is not going to sit flush with the stock. Probably due to the height of the magazine versus a Mauser, much smaller cartridge Mauser. This one's a little bit taller, so the bottom's going to stick out, quarter of an inch below the wood line. Not the end of the world, but aesthetically, it could have been better. But everything is workable. So, let's get this action dropped out. Okay, now, with the receiver removed, we can see all of the work we had to do. Obviously, had to open up the barrel channel. That's a given. Did have to extend this pocket rearward quite a bit. Probably roughly about 1/4 of an inch. We had to expand that. Did have to sand open the magwell a little bit for the wider magwell that goes in there. And obviously, if you know the Siamese, it's got that magazine that is tilted backwards, as you can see here. So, all other Mausers have a straight up and down magazine, so we had to file down a really nice angle into the stock to clear the magwell, and it fits perfectly. I don't know what that pin is in there for, probably for strength, but we did run into a pin, but it ran into it at the perfect moment, and we don't have to hurt the pin. So, with that, the rear really didn't have to do much around the rear tang area. It's all pretty good, but if you can see the marks right there, we're going to have to take some material off the top because the bolt, the little bolt shroud is running into the stock. So we're going to have to shave some of this down. Yeah, it looks really ugly right now because I've taken a lot of the black off of it, but it's actually coming out pretty darn nice. And I'm really happy with all of the fitment. So, what's going in this stock? Well, we've got a Siamese receiver, really nice Siamese receiver, and we've got a really good heavy barrel from McGowan with a muzzle brake, and these are pretty cool. They kind of hide right on the end of the barrel. Those are pretty cool. So, the Siamese Mausers were originally chambered in 8mm by 50mm, and then updated to 8 by 52mm. And if you've never heard of the Siamese 8mm, there's a good reason. It is entirely obsolete. Nobody makes it. Nobody, very few people I've ever heard of even shoot it. It's a very obsolete cartridge. It is just dead to the world. So, we went ahead and rebarreled this in the Motherland Special 762 by 54R. It's going to work in the magazine just well. The bolt face is the same size as the rim on a 54R, and we're in business, and I'm really happy about that. So, we've got a really nice setup for an excellent shooter. So, with the inletting where it is right now, I'm safe to go ahead and do the front lug bedding. Unfortunately, I've just gone over the stockpile of epoxy that I have, and I think I can probably do just the front recoil lug on the bottom of the receiver at this point. And that is a bummer. I am very low on epoxy. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do the front recoil lug. The one issue that I ran into with the inletting is because the bottom metal, the base plate, whatever you want to say, hangs down lower than the stock line. When you tighten the screws up, it doesn't actually tighten the action into the stock. So the receiver wiggles up and down, and I'm getting some weird stuff with the inletting and everything. So what I want to do before I finish out the inletting, before I finish, like I said, I'm 95% of the way there. What I want to do is get the front recoil lug bedded in and get the front of the magwell, the bolt hole for the front of the magwell, bedded in so I know a reference point that I can keep coming back to that is solid. So I'm going to go ahead and get this going with the bedding job on the front recoil lug, and I'll see you when it's done. Alright, here we are with the first round of epoxy down under the front lug, and we're going to have to set this aside for a few days until I can get some more epoxy. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here, and we'll pick up on this project when more epoxy shows up. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you on another video, guys.